out of the wood beat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots, the maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell, of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I was born in the Dublin street where the lion runs do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they tell come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with his chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Come tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2. Like the Zulus they had nice bows and arrows. Of how bravely you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Come let us hear you tell how you stand a brave Parnell and taught them well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch all with the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch all with the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
Oh, come out, you pretty sons, come out and fight without your guns. Show your wife how you won medals up in Derry. You murdered 16 men and you'll do the same again. So get out of here and take your bloody army. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Oh, come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra.
Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Hello there, hello there, hello there, you mother flippers. How the devil are we all? I am very well, I thank you for asking. I hope you're doing sensationally well. It is still too hot. That is... I know I've started every stream for the last month saying that, but that's because it is. It's still too hot. It's supposed to cool off a little tomorrow, which is nice. But I suppose, count your blessings, at least we're not on fire. Most of us, anyway. Unlike in France, where I think everything is on fire. Now, to be fair, everything in France is usually on fire because people purposefully set it on fire. Like, that's a thing that they do regularly. Lots of bits of France spontaneously combust. And by spontaneously, I mean purposefully. Whereas this is more of a wildfire sitch, not as based in many respects. Kevin, send help. Zack has locked me in his basement and hypnotised me into mass-producing Nigel t-shirts. Well, I think that's what I'm going to do now for clout chasing purposes, is wear very offensive t-shirts close to Zack Polanski. And just get pictured like wearing offensive t-shirts next to him. And then, you know, instant headlines in national newspapers. That's what we need to do, I think. Fantastique, if you don't mind me saying. Thank you, Carl Brown, for a couple of memberships on the YouTubes. Much love to you. Don't forget, you can, of course, everybody, give me money in the form of bits and subs and super chats and what else can you do? Subscribe. I've got a Patreon, I think, as well, maybe. PayPal. You can go over to the YouTube, and if you're on the YouTube, come over to the Twitch. Cross-pollinations, etc. Yes. Oh, thank you, Carl Brown, for another gift. Much love, my man. Yes, so we are going to be talking about Zack Polanski and T-shirt gate, which we sort of talked about the other day, but it's been, you know, the developments have ensued, haven't they? But firstly, two very unrelated things, but two things that are still very cool. Firstly, hang on. Why is it not? Hang on a second. Hang on a second. There we go. Fuck's sake. Firstly, did you know that Jimothy does parkour? Because he does. Scratch the arse, and then wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Ninja roll! Fuck yes! Go on, Jimothy lad. That's what I'm talking about. And then parkour! Fuck yes! Now he's swinging from a rope. I mean, is there anything... They sign him up for the American Ninja. Ultimate Ninja Warrior Jimothy. Absolute king. Honestly, he's more athletic than I am, and he has less spine. Literally, physically, way less spine than is necessary. And he's more athletic than I am. Now he's just having a little wash of his hands. Good hygiene. Good hygiene. Did you know raccoons are called washing bears in Germany? Germany is very weird. Just saying. Germany is weird. Also, completely unrelated to that, I was reminded today of the best moment in the entirety of the recently passed World Cup, the football/soccer World Cup, and that was the time that Romelu Lukaku's dick was offside. I cannot believe this was ever shown on TV, but yes, it was. Yeah, that's the VAR image of the goal-scoring part of his body that was offside. Now, that is a flex. That is a fucking flex. Like, that would be my fucking profile on Tinder and Grindr, if that was me. Thank you, Al Whedon 2003 for becoming a member on the YouTubes. Much love. And thank you, Miss Reeb, possibly. 13 months of Prime on the Twitch machines. Thank you all. Thank you, Dingus, with Beetle, which brought up lots of beetles, which nearly drowned out Jimothy doing parkour, and that would have been a shame for everybody. Thank you, Phil Decker. It says, Germans call nipples breastwarts. Indeed, Breastwarten is literally the word. So that's kind of tame and wholesome by their usual standards. True. What do they call them in Dutch? Do we know? What's Dutch for nipple? Titty vastens. Like, what is it? I don't know. Anyway. Does the Willie being offside position give him much of an advantage? Not really, but the rule is that any goal-scoring part of his body, and you are allowed to score with your dick. It would be interesting to see someone intentionally try and score with their dick, but either way, you can. If the ball hits your dick and goes in, it would count as a goal. Therefore, if your dick is goal side of the last defender, then he is offside. It was a correct decision, but a very, very funny image. Anyway, we're on a hype train. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will... who will I finger? Who's dead? Lots of people. I'll finger lots of people. Was the Willy interfering with play? Well, you don't want a passive Willy, really, do you? Can play keepy ups with his D. True. Putting the D in defence. Even though he's an attacker. But you get the point. Thank you, MBT2K, for 14 months. Happy New Year, Kip. Happy New Year to you, MBT2K, for keeping that joke going. I fucking love it. Because I forget every time, even though I'm the one that said it. But you remember, and you do the bit. And I fucking love it. Finger Nigel Farage's political campaign. True. There is still going to be a fucking by-election, but, like, it's... who cares? Literally no one's paying attention to it at all. It's the most... like, he wanted it to be the story, and literally no one gives a shit. It's a joke. You're arguing against a bin, mate. Like, no one cares. Just fuck off with you. Anyway. Yes. Anyway. Right, let's... so... okay, I'll hang on. No. Why is that still there? What the fuck? Why have I still got that text bit? Remove. Right. So that I don't do the lead-in bit with Romelu Lukaku's dick on the screen. There's only one thing on the docket for tonight's proceedings. Just one thing. And that is a t-shirt. We're going to be talking about a t-shirt, chat. Yeah. We're doing t-shirt gate. We talked about this the other day. Zack Polanski was did a Facebook collab thing or something where somebody else put up some images that were like supporters of the Green Party, and he put his name to it so people that follow his account could see the images, right? It's really like it's tenuous. In the series of images within that post was one of a man wearing a t-shirt which read, "We're only making plans for Nigel," which is the line from a song from the 80s. Was it the 70s? Who cares? And with a picture of a drawing of a guillotine. Now, clearly, any reasonable person would see, or any reasonable not boomer piece of shit, would see that as like a shitposty meme. No one really gives a fuck. But the party that brought someone convicted of incitement to violence, because she literally, Lucy Connolly this is, literally called for violence to be enacted upon migrants, she was brought to speak at their political party. Anyway, that political party, Reform, of the aforementioned Nigel Farage, to give him his correct pronunciation, they've reported to Zack Polanski to the police for collab signing to the set of pictures which he obviously hadn't looked at on a Facebook post. That apparently is something that they feel the police need to be involved with. But either way. that's the story, right? But they're trying to turn this into he's doing a terrorism, because Nigel Farage is nothing if not a victim playing piece of shit and a massive hypocrite. Cal surprise. Anyway, Zack Polanski went on to the Newsnight television program last night, and there's a reason. Actually, there are several reasons, many reasons why I despise British journalists. Their complicity in genocide, probably being number one. Their kowtowing to the political establishment. Their narrative formation around politicians and people that I quite like Jeremy Corbyn, etc., etc. They're scum. British journalists are like... in the order condescendi, you have, like, obviously fuck the police, right? And in there you've got, like, royal correspondents, who I suppose technically count as journalists, but they're like a special breed of crazy. And then there's, like, Pond Life, and the Literal Devil, and British journalists are in the mix as well. And in amongst all of that, you have one or two journalists who aren't so bad. One of whom we were about to watch, unfortunately. Victoria Derbyshire, usually one of the better journalists. Although, again, having said that, it's like saying you're the least smelliest turd in the sewer. Like, it's an accolade, I suppose, but it's sort of damning with faint praise. This interview, and in fact this entire program, which was on TV yesterday evening, sums up so perfectly the scubbiness of the British media. I hate it so much, and it's a shame to see Vicky D, pushing the same fucking shit. Anyway, yeah, honestly, anyone who's ever attended a fucking the summer garden party for the Spectator, all I'll say is terms of service bans me from saying the thing that I want to say about those people. Thank you to Iphone with the 10 gifties on the YouTubes. Much love to you, my friend. Honestly, if you ever need me to, like, take out one of your enemies, and by take out I mean take them to dinner, to distract them while you steal all their shit or something, you know, yeah, I'll do that. Anyway, Zack Polanski, member of the London Assembly, leader of the Green Party, and hopefully future Prime Minister. Although, given that the establishment are going after him, who knows? Maybe they'll find the only Jewish political leader in Britain to be anti-Semitic. I'm sure they will. He went on the show. Let's take a look, shall we?
Police look into reports about Green Party leader Zack Polanski over this social media post, showing a photo of a man.
Hang on a minute. Apologies. I should have resized the screen before we got going, really. But then, your dad. So, yeah. Oop, hang on. Oop. Anyway, so that's the picture there, right? We're only making plans for Nigel, you see, and it's a joke. It's a joke about killing Nigel Farage, but not really, because it's not really saying Nigel Farage. In the same way, Conservatives do this. When it suits them, it's all about context. And when it doesn't suit them, it's to be taken absolutely literally and to the most extreme possible position. So, in the eyes of Conservatives, in order to play victim here, they are literally saying that this person is calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. They do this all the time, where, like, there's an Irish group called the Wolf Tones, and in one of their songs they sing, and this is, I'm just quoting their thing, I'm not suggesting that these lyrics are good, because the group being described technically are a prescribed terrorist group, so I just want to say, disavow, disavow, disavow. The line goes, ooh ah, up the rah. I said, ooh ah, up the rah. That is a line from their song, right? Now, there are a number of key pieces of context. Firstly, as pointed out in chat, Nigel Farage has literally said up the Ra for money. No investigation was done into that, even though he was literally being paid to express support for a prescribed terrorist organisation. No 4 years in prison for him, though. Interesting. Yeah. If only he'd said, I don't know, up Palestine action, which is illegal and you shouldn't do, obviously. But if he had said that, maybe he would have gone to prison. Crazy. Right. The Wolf Tones line is, you know, as previously stated. Now, when people say that that's offensive, I understand why they think that's offensive. But if you think for a second that the people who would sing that at a concert, either the band themselves or the people in the crowd, are literally saying, yay, the Birmingham bombings were awesome. Or, hooray for kneecapping. Or something like that. Obviously not. It's not an invocation of extreme violence. What it is a show of Republican pride. Because, of course, the IRA, along with a lot of other groups who have been designated as a terrorist organisation, have roots that were not that. Going all the way back to the fight for Irish independence in the south, and now, of course, the continued fight for independence in the north. It's an invocation of a lot of those sorts of cultural and historical things. It is not saying, yay for paramilitaries. In the same way that this t-shirt is not saying, I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. And Conservatives know that, but they have to play dumb in order to try and, like, pretend that that's what it's about. In order to play the victim.
And in a t-shirt with an illustration of a guillotine alongside the words, "We're only making plans for Nigel." Reform UK say that is incitement to murder. Tonight, in his first interview since the complaint, Zack Polanski speaks exclusively to Newsnight.
But again, and again, incitement to murder, this is the organisation which got Lucy Connolly, a woman who literally called for the burning down of buildings with migrants inside of them, an actual fucking incitement to murder. Not only did they show tacit support to her, they invited her to speak at their fucking conference. Talk about two-tier policing, eh, Nige?
Good evening, it's Tuesday's Newsnight live from Broadcasting House in London with insight and interview.
Well, segue, you would raise an interesting point, which then brings into question all manner of different anarchist lines of thought or of critique, in that every killing done by the state in some respect is lawful or justified when it's done formally after a process. But that's not to say that innocent people weren't killed. I think if there's one thing we can definitely say about the terror during the French Revolution, is that not all of its victims were entirely justified, shall we say?
Views on the top stories each weeknight. Hello, welcome to the programme. We'll talk live to our panel from the Conservatives and Labour in a moment, and Nick is here as always. First, police continue to look into reports about a social media post by the Green Party leader, Zack Polanski. Reform UK reported Mr Polanski to the police after he shared this on Instagram. Several images which...
Sorry, Instagram, not Facebook. My apologies.
...included a photo of a man wearing a T-shirt with a picture of a guillotine below the words, "We're only making plans for Nigel." Reform's Nigel Farage has said, "If I was to post anything as insightful, then I would expect to be arrested." And
you literally said up the Ra, Nigel. You literally did. When talking about Brexit, you said that you would, was it bring the knife, I think was the phrase you used? Many of your members have called directly for the murder of migrants, machine gunning boats, etc. They have not been removed from your party, Nigel. Or is it only your life matters and no one else's?
And so should Polanski. Well, Mr. Polanski is here. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Victoria.
Have the police been in touch yet?
No, they haven't.
Would you expect them to be? Do you expect them to be?
It feels quite surreal to be having this conversation because I think, first of all, it's important to establish the facts. This was not my post. It was a collaboration from a photographer. It had 20 images and I just didn't look carefully enough and I accepted it. As soon as I was aware of what happened, I unaccepted it and took it down. I think it would be odd for the police to speak to me about that because I think it's quite obvious that I've not done anything wrong other than making an inadvertent mistake. That being said...
Exactly. Like, and as soon as he realised what it was, he took it down. You are allowed to make mistakes. That is a thing. What is this? Heading of Nigel Farage. What? I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. See, are you trying to get me arrested? This kind of clipping, this clip chimping will get me killed. I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. Technically, I did say that, but but I didn't mean it like that. I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. It's out of context. I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. Just to make it absolutely clear, I am not. I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. I'm not. I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. I'm not, I promise. I'm calling for the public beheading of Nigel Farage. No. Sample for a banging track, although a banging track that will get you banged up in jail.
If the police do want to talk to me, of course, I'm very happy to cooperate.
Okay. Did you not read the post properly then?
No.
Why not?
It was from a party, and I accepted 9 collaborations from that party. Now, I accept, as a leader of a political party, I have a responsibility for what I post. And to give you an example, if I go to a protest, I read every sign in a collaboration before I post it, because I don't want to have situations like this. This was actually collaborations from a party on Sunday.
Oh shit. So that's the problem with my plan then of wearing like offensive t-shirts next to him, is that he always checks. Fuck. I finally figured out how to make Twitch clips, Kev. Oh well, it's over for everyone else. You clip bitches, it's dead. Okay, 255 is going to be the king of the clips.
Sunday night, you don't generally expect a party to have things that are contentious. So I did flick through it, but I admit I didn't pay enough attention to the t-shirt. As soon as I saw it, I was horrified. It's important to say I condemn all political violence. I condemn violent imagery, I condemn violent methods.
Interestingly, Nigel Farage is very much pro-genocide though, but you know, we should all care about a t-shirt. You know.
Metaphors, I do my best to avoid them in my day-to-day speech. So I think the idea that I would click this knowing what I was doing, I think most people just know that isn't true. This was a mistake, and I'm sure...
So let's just look at this picture then. Any second now. This, you did not see the T-shirt with the drawing of the guillotine with the words.
It was a 5th image in 20, and so what I was seeing was people partying, flicking through. The man had a colourful hat on, like a rainbow hat. I remember seeing that and just carried on flicking through. I didn't even know this was a song lyric from XTC. Didn't read the T-shirt. That was a mistake, I accept that. But it's an inadvertent mistake. And so I think the amount that it's been reported, particularly by press that are owned by billionaires who often attack me.
Well, that's the point. Is that the only reason this is a news story is because billionaires want this to be a news story. Because Zack Polanski is an actual threat to their moneyed interests. To the person who chose it, the UK must be an absolute paradise when things like this become newsworthy. Oh, no. We are far from a paradise. It's just The people who own the media, want this to be talked about and not like the horrific poverty or our complicity in genocide or the fact that we're America's little bitch or the falling living standards or the cost of living crisis. None of that, no. They want you to talk about a meme t-shirt. The British media, not to put too fine a point on this, are scum.
I talk a lot.
Come on.
Well, no.
Come on. Any leader of a political party in this country who shares a post like that.
Bitch! Every leader of every other major political party beside the Welsh and Scottish national parties supports actual ongoing genocide in Palestine. Every fucking one of them, you cunt! What the fuck is wrong with you? Not only do you not call that out, every time anyone else tries to call it out, you intercede and go, well, Israel would deny they're doing a genocide. So no, not every political leader would be questioned if they did that. What if they posted a picture of a thing? They're literally sending spy flights over so the Israelis can more accurately do their fucking genocide. They're bombing fucking Iranian schools from our fucking air bases, you twat. And you want to get offended about a fucking t-shirt? The fuck is wrong with this place?
Is going to have reports and stories and conversations about them. You know that.
Well, can I come back on that? So in May, I experienced lots of threats, including today, by the way, I experienced a death threat. But in May, a Nazi who was near a reform banner threw a salute at me and...
What, Jeremy Corbyn? What? Why would he do that?
...was arrested. No one ever spoke about it. No one ever reported it. And it does feel this is a legitimate conversation to be having. That's why I've come here tonight, to have the conversation.
Why would the media report it? The media are the ones doing anti-Semitic cartoons of him. Of course they're not going to fucking report it. They're the ones doing the anti-Semitism. Ironically enough. In defence of Israel. Crazy, I know. Hey, hello, a couple of Burks. Everyone go and follow a couple of Burks in the YouTube chat. Excellent content.
But you are also complaining about it being reported.
I'm complaining about the disproportionality of, I think Zia Yusuf said, if I wasn't arrested by this time tomorrow, then it's open season on all MPs. I think that's clearly hyperbole.
Well, let me...
Zia Yusuf is such a weird little fish. No wonder they wouldn't let him stand as a by-election candidate. Like, he's just a very stupid person. And a very dangerous one.
Put this to you. Nigel Farage says he has had 597 death threats since...
Yeah, and as many milkshakings. I don't care, particularly. Like, they shouldn't be sending him death threats, but I also don't care. You're talking about a fucking t-shirt. We should be offended that the guy who wants to, like, let's say, deal with the boats, we all know what that actually means. He wants to set up concentration camps for fucking migrants. The one who supports genocide in Palestine and war in Iran. That guy we should feel bad about because the violence against him is someone wore a t-shirt. The British media, and again, you're going to get sick of me saying this, the British media are scum. Because look at the gutter press nonsense that Victoria Derbyshire is engaging in, and think of it this way. She's one of the better ones. She's one of the better ones. She's in like the top 5% of British journalists, and she's fucking dog shit.
Since February. Reform UK's Zia Yusuf said the post was incitement to murder.
So I think there's two things there, and two things can be true.
I don't care. Zia Yusuf is nobody. Zia Yusuf is a fucking nobody. He's not even an elected official. He's so weird, Farage wouldn't let him stand to become an elected official. He's nothing. You might as well say the bloke Dave from down the pub, or the crazy guy with fucking shit streaks on the back of his trousers at the bus stop said a thing. I don't care.
At the same time, it's totally unacceptable for Nigel Farage to receive a single death threat, so I condemn any incitement towards him or any violence towards him, no matter how much I disagree with his political views or anyone else. Everyone in the political sphere has the right to express their views. At the same time, the idea that's incitement to murder, when it wasn't my photograph, it's not my T-shirt. I accepted a collaboration post and unaccepted it the moment I read the T-shirt.
Yeah, but you've also told me that you accept, as a leader of a political party, responsibility for what you share on social media. And you have also said this was a mistake.
Yes.
And that you didn't read it properly. Do you want to take this opportunity to apologise to Nigel Farage?
Look, please don't, Zack. Please don't apologise to Nigel Farage. He is a person that will put me and you in a camp as soon as he has the opportunity to do so. Please do not say, I am sorry to Nigel Farage. He is a person who actually will engage in violence against people he doesn't like.
Well, if I'd done it deliberately, I'd be apologising, but because this was a mistake, I think the important thing is that I point out it's a mistake.
Chad manoeuvre. His cortisol levels have peaked. He just truth mocked this bitch. He is massive cock-maxing as we speak.
That I also make sure that I condemn political violence. And also, crucially, I make a commitment to be better on my social media.
Okay. Do you want to apologise then or not?
No, the reason...
Literally, like, bend down and kiss Nigel's ring. See, when Nigel Farage gets into power and is a fascist and does fascism, and, oh, by the way, Vicky, closes down the BBC and makes you unemployed, well, and presumably puts you in a camp for being to the left of fucking Mussolini. Know this. You did this. Not you individually, but you, the media, made Nigel Farage this person. You allowed him to become a major political figure. You propped him up for decade after decade, right? For the last 20 plus fucking years. You have done his bidding. This is you doing his propaganda for him. You have now repeatedly asked, will you apologise to Nigel Farage? A man who has never apologised for anything, including singing fucking Horst Wessel song. Doesn't even want to apologise for taking 5 million quid of dodgy money. Won't apologise for Up the Ra. Won't apologise for any of his awful fucking policies. But we should apologise to him. Are you fucking kidding me?
For that is because Nigel Farage, when I posted this, or when the person posted it, it got less than 1,000 likes. Nigel Farage then took it, cropped it, so it made it look like I posted it, which I think was fundamentally dishonest. It's now had 3.
No, that's crazy. Nigel Farage being dishonest? That's madness.
2 million views. So actually, this whole conversation has been seen more because Nigel Farage, the Yusuf, and I think Richard Tice posted it. So I'm accepting my responsibility in that I shouldn't have accepted that collaboration. I'm accepting that we all need to condemn political violence. But I also think the reporting to the police, the ramping up of the language to say this is incitement to murder me, feels like that's also putting me in a dangerous spot.
Good point.
Okay.
Good point. He's made it more dangerous for Nigel Farage and more dangerous for Zack Polanski. It's yet another example of Nigel Farage, A, not really understanding how any of this works, and B, being a phenomenally reckless idiot.
Okay, there's a number of things to unpack there. First of all, you're saying you take responsibility for it and it was a mistake, and yet you won't apologise because you're...
Kiss his ring! You need to bend down and kiss Daddy Nigel's ring. Why won't you apologise? Apologise! Why won't you apologise? Why won't you kiss this man's arsehole? All he wants to do is put you in a camp for being gay and Jewish. But you should apologise to him because T-shirt! The British media are scum. Say it with me, chat. Say it with me. The British media are scum.
Blaming Nigel Farage for amplifying it.
I think we also need to talk about a double standard.
No, you keep taking the conversation on.
No, you aren't agreeing to the narrative. Agree to the narrative! Can you not hear me? Can you not hear me trying to manufacture consent for the fascism that's coming? Agree to the narrative. Bend down and kiss his arsehole, and then get in the fucking cattle truck like a good boy. Like, it's fucking wild. She's literally just interrupted him before he could even fucking answer the question. In a way that she absolutely never would with Nigel Farage. Or any of these fucking scumbags. God, again, the British media are scum.
If you're accepting it's a mistake...
What you just said was correct, but I was going to add to it.
Okay.
Then Nigel Farage put out a video that talked about cold, pure rage, and then we saw a riot. Nigel Farage talked about knifing civil servants.
I am talking to you about what you have done, and if Nigel Farage was here, I'd be talking to him about what he had done.
Right.
It's a mistake, but...
So, pointing out the rampant, ridiculous hypocrisy is not worth doing? Why did you have him on the show if you're not interested in the things he has to say? Genuinely. If you're not interested in what Zack Polanski has to actually say about this topic, why bother having him on in the first place? Why not just have a sock puppet there giving the answers you want him to give? Why don't you just have a sock puppet with Zack Polanski's face on it? Get one of those anti-Semitic drawings of Nigel Farage and just have that in a frame next to you and just go, "Oh yeah, sorry Nige. Sorry Mr. Nigel, sir. Please forgive me, Daddy Nigel." Shut the fuck up, man. God. Say it with me, chat. You know what I'm about to say. I'm like a fucking broken record at this point. The British media are scum. That's very much the theme of tonight's show, I think.
You won't apologise.
I think if I'd done it deliberately and this had been a misjudgment, I would absolutely apologise.
But when we make mistakes, whether it's intentional or not, we say sorry. I mean, that's what we do.
You know,
why aren't you agreeing to the narrative? Jesus Christ. Are you trying to sound like a fucking head teacher? Chastising a pupil? It's ridiculous. Honestly, the British media, not only are they scum, again, just to reiterate that point in case you hadn't quite got it, but they're also like, they've got the conservative mindset of thinking that everyone must agree with them, otherwise they're wrong. Not that people have different standards by which they live their lives, not why people have different social mores that they apply to themselves and apply to other people, but that unless you wholeheartedly, completely and utterly agree with their interpretation of everything, you're wrong. Not just that you have a difference of opinion, you're wrong. There is one acceptable opinion. There is one acceptable way of behaving. And Westminster has decided that this is something that one should apologise for. Don't apologise for genocide. Don't apologise for corruption. Don't apologise for, well, anything actually bad. Apologise for somebody else wearing a t-shirt. Literally, look, that's the juxtaposition that needs to be held. Don't apologise for genocide. In fact, actively say you don't think it's a genocide. Or actively go and say that the genociders would deny that they're doing the genocide that they're doing. Apologise for a t-shirt. That's the thing that we should apologise for.
As well as I do, the moment I do that, Nigel Farage would run all over social media saying he was correct about incitement to murder, and this would all ramp up again. And I think it's important that I draw a line and don't play his game, and actually say it is important that he's kept safe. It is important we condemn political violence, but I also recognise this as the political attack that it is.
Yes, but on behalf of you, your party said last night, once this image was brought to Zack's attention, he immediately unshared the post. He unequivocally does not support this type of dangerous message. You're accepting it was dangerous,
yes,
and yet you won't apologise.
Jesus Christ! He's already said he's not going to apologise. This is what, the 4th, 5th time that you've asked him this? This isn't journalism. This is you begging for fascism. This is you actively begging for fascism to occur. This is you being a stenographer for Nigel Farage. Absolutely fucking pathetic. She wants the apology for the same reason that Nigel Farage wants the apology, Solo. Which is, as Zack pointed out a second ago, Nigel Farage would run around going, see, yeah, he did do incitement to violence. See, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. It gets clicks, it gets the media narrative, it gets all of that. And the media would do exactly the same. If he apologised now, it wouldn't be taken as a good faith and sincere act of contrition. It would be taken as weakness. Weakness to be exploited. Weakness to be stamped down upon. A pathetic act that needs to be punished. So you gain nothing by apologising. It's horrible. We should live in a world where apologising is not taken in that way. That it is taken not as a moment of weakness, but a moment of strength. Where you accept that you have acted incorrectly, you apologise to the person who has been offended, and you seek to better yourself. But we don't live in that world. We live in a world where it is taken as weakness and something that will be punished. So, if you're a political leader, don't apologise. Nigel Farage hasn't, ever, for anything. And he's one of the most foul, corrupted individuals that's ever held any office in the UK. And it's worked for him. It's fundamentally worked. That's the thing with civility politics, is it's not actually civilised. What it wants is you to bend the knee and to just agree with the powers that already exist. Civility is based on what people in power want you to say and do and believe and how to act. And the only way you can break that is by saying, fuck you. No. Pointing at the thing, what was the most revolutionary act you can do is point out the obvious. Is to point at the elephant in the room and say, no, fuck this, there is an elephant in the room. I'm not going to pretend that the elephant that's in the room with us is not either an elephant or not in the room. And that's why they hate Zack Polanski, because he's pointing at the elephant and going, maybe we should do something about that fucking elephant. And they're like, well, the elephant denies that it's an elephant, so fair and balanced, you know?
I accept it's a dangerous message that I shared inadvertently, and I've corrected that immediately.
But you won't apologise for sharing that danger.
What's that, 6 now? 6 times. She's asked him 6 times. 6 fucking times to apologise to a fascist for somebody else wearing a t-shirt. I don't think she's ever asked any politician who supports genocide to even condemn the acts of genocide. Not even to condemn genocide more broadly. Or to apologise to the victims. Just this particular thing. Is this bad? She's never asked that. But she's now asked 6 fucking times someone to apologise for somebody else they've never met wearing a t-shirt. British journalism, honestly, round of applause. Superb. Superb. I don't even need to say the sentence. You're all thinking it. You all know exactly what I mean. And they are. 100%. Complete and utter fetid scum.
Dangerous message.
Well, as I said, again, if Nigel Farage wants to apologise for all the times that he's put other people in danger, then I'll be happy to make an apology.
Right. So, okay. It's not the first time.
Jesus Christ! The passive aggressive, like, okay. The contemptuousness. Oh my god, I fucking hate these people, man. Like, I don't even know how to do analysis of that, because technically she didn't really say anything. It's just... the contempt she has for him and for the voters that support him is pretty grotesque. It is pretty bad, actually. But what I will say, and this is the thing to keep in mind, okay? If we're going to do a positive for a second, if we're going to break from the remorseless negativity of it all. Most normal people watching this will see the absurdity of it. Most normal people who would watch this would see how ludicrous this is and see that what you have is a man answering shit questions decently. He's putting up a decent showing here. In the face of some, like, really rancid nonsense. Some really, like, low-grade gutter journalism, fucking shithouse snipery. And so, anyone who watches this is not going to have... This hit job is not going to have the intended effect of making him less popular. The only caveat to that, unfortunately, is that one of the other reasons they do this is not just so that normies don't like you, although that is the main reason they do it. It's also to wear the individual down themselves. Because every politician has to, like, give you a veneer, has to show you a public face to themselves. But they're a human being at the end of the day. They're a human being. With emotions and thoughts and feelings and dreams and wishes and aspirations and all the rest of it, like everybody else. I know politicians don't seem very human at times, but they are actually. And so by putting people under constant, horrific pressure, not even for, like, good stuff they do, but just bad stuff they do, but weaponising nonsense. Weaponising fucking bullshit like this, which is, this shouldn't be a story, this is nothing. That's why I'm so angry about this, is because this is fucking nothing. By weaponising this, you put the individual under pressure. For instance, I have no interest in where Jeremy Corbyn lives. I could have gone my entire life without ever finding out what the front of his house looks like. And yet, if you showed me a picture of the front of 10 different houses, I would be able to pick out which one was Jeremy Corbyn's. So regularly was he doorstepped by the British media. Again, for largely bullshit reasons. Even after he stopped being a frontline politician, even after he wasn't even a member of the Labour Party, when he was just a regular, independent, backbench, nobody MP, they were still doing it. It's to break the person down. The person that is a threat, the person that stands out like a nail, the hammer will try and bash down. And eventually it works, doesn't it? I don't know if you saw, slightly different point, but kind of along the same lines. The former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, who is himself a German man, has just taken over as the German soccer head coach. To try and turn around a previously successful, but ultimately, very recently, pretty fucking dismal German national football team. And one of the first things he did was threaten to quit. Not because of any way that the players had reacted to him or anything like that, but because the German media had started to doorstep his family. And quite rightly he pointed out, I don't fucking need this. I could have gone off into my retirement, Because he's not like a phenomenally young man anymore. I think he's in his, early 60s or something. So he could have just retired. He's earned enough money. He's been successful. Fine, whatever. He's decided, for the good of his nation, in the sport that he loves, to try and help them. To try and revive a nation's flagging hope in its football team. He doesn't need his family being treated like fucking dog shit. So if it carries on, he'll just fucking resign. And I thought that was such a good note to hit first off. I don't know if it'll be successful down the line, but I think it was the right point to make. What is this? Hang on. Based moment. Jurgen Klopp excited by translator's erotic voice. Okay, let's take a listen.
So it's a very important game tomorrow. How are you going to play against Paris tomorrow?
Very erotic voice, by the way, the translator. Congratulations. Wow. Again, please.
Yeah. He's a good lad. Also a leftoid of sorts as well. Good boy. Good lad. Anyway, talking of leftoids, Zack Polanski
shared something that afterwards you have regretted. 3 months ago, you retweeted criticism of the police's handling of the Golders Green attack. You apologised after that for, quote, sharing the post in haste. I don't really understand why you haven't learned.
Well, that was a totally different situation where I did make a misjudgment, and that's why I apologised for it. It wasn't inadvertent. I read it and then reshared it. I think there's
So there is a question about your judgment then, isn't there?
See, this is why you don't apologise. This is why you should never apologise. Because again, that hasn't been taken as as I pointed out, it won't be taken as a good faith acknowledgement of wrongdoing and taken positively. It'll be thrown back in your fucking face. Not only will it be used as a sign that you were guilty and therefore are untrustworthy, but fucking months down the line, you will be thrown in your face. You'll just be taken as a piece of shit. It's fucking embarrassing. This is journalism. This is journalism, is it? Well, you apologise then, so you should just apologise forever. And that will be taken positively by people, I'm sure. Fuck off.
Well, I think there's a question.
One, you read it and retweeted it. One, you didn't retweet. You didn't read it and shared it anyway.
Other politicians don't use social media in the way that I do, and that's because, again, they often have the press to back their arguments.
True.
Being in grassroots community.
True. They have stenographer scum like you. Yeah, they Vicky, you and your ilk do the bidding of the powerful. So they don't have to use social media, but I do have to. Very good point. Very good point.
Community. I believe in being in spaces. I actually collaborated with 8 people that evening.
Okay. Do you, just forgive me, do you still want to be Prime Minister? Do you still want to be in power?
I want to make sure that there's a green government.
Office, Victoria.
Whether I'm Prime Minister in the future or not, I want to keep making sure.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, because these mistakes involving social media could be described as careless at best, dangerous at worst. You would forgive voters, surely then, for potentially thinking you might be careless or dangerous with their lives or their safety or their money if you were in power.
Office. And secondly, every person who has held that office of Prime Minister has been a cunt. Like, they're all genocidal war criminals. They're all imperialist fucking swine. Apart from maybe Liz Truss, who wasn't there long enough to really do anything. And she did, of course, murder the Queen with her bare hands, which, you know, base Lib Dem moment. Am I right? Yeah, like, the idea that the thing that's a drawback in a politician is careless posting on Twitter and not trying to make disabled people die. aiding and abetting mass murder, doing war crimes. Jesus fucking Christ. Do you think this is something people really give a fuck about? This is such a Westminster bubble moment. It really is. Because no one outside of Westminster gives two fucks about this story. No one cares about this. They're trying to make it a thing. Stop trying to make fetch a thing. It's never going to be a thing.
Fair?
I have a job to do to make sure that I
Is that
build
fair,
trust.
what
Yes.
I have just... Right.
Yes,
So
it is.
voters would be forgiven for thinking that because of these kind of mistakes. And you're saying, yeah, that's fair. They've got a right to think...
Well, I don't think that is fair, actually, Zach. I think that's ridiculous, but whatever. I guess you've got to play the more normie game. Fair enough.
Ah.
And it's my job to make sure that I build trust, that I demonstrate through my actions and through my behaviour, that I have people's values and their best interests at heart.
And this is the thing. We are now 10 minutes into this interview, nearly. 9 minutes and 48 seconds. And she hasn't asked him about a single policy. Because you'll see there, that's the leader of the Green Party of England and Wales, currently polling in 3rd or 4th position, depending on which polling you look at in a general election, are slated to get anywhere between sort of 20 to 100 seats in Parliament if it was held today. And you've got the leader of that political party on your show, and you've spent 10 minutes not asking him about his policies or anything. At all. Not a sausage, ironically. Release the sausages, clearly. This is journalism, is it? The British media are scum.
I think lots of people watching this will recognise that people make mistakes and people make inadvertent mistakes. I'm particularly in a position where that mistake means you end up on live TV talking about it, and I accept that because I have a position of responsibility. I also think no matter how much responsibility you have, whether you're a leader of a political party or a prime minister, you make mistakes. The point is, what do you do about that mistake? How do you learn and how do you move on from it?
What this is oppression. It's oppression of shitposters. And as shitposters, we need to rise up against this. We need to say, this far and no farther! Shitposters of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your memes!
OK, well, you made a mistake 3 months ago and don't seem to have learned from it. You've made a second mistake and won't apologise for it.
I think they're different mistakes.
Apologise!
The first mistake with the Golders Green attack was that I shared it in haste and I should have gone to the Met Commissioner. That's why I apologised. This time, I've inadvertently accepted something, and as soon as I realised, corrected it. They are different things.
Since that Golders Green repost, according to YouGov, your own approval ratings have dropped significantly and haven't gone back to the levels seen in February, March, let alone the ratings you had, say, last December. At the same time, Labour under Andy Burnham seem to be taking support away from the Greens. Are you worried?
Well, until he starts doing right-wing shit, and the voters will come back.
Now that the Greens under your leadership may have peaked?
Well, I think Andy Burnham has identified a lot of the problems I was talking about earlier in the year, about living in rip-off Britain, the fact that we have this toxic combination of high bills and low wages. I think the problem for Andy Burnham, and where I plan to step up, is that his solutions aren't going to fix things. For instance, he's ruled out rent controls. If we brought in rent controls, we could save the average UK household.
Whoa, what are you doing talking about policy? Just apologise and be a pathetic fawning coward. Just give in to the establishment. Don't talk about policies. Just say, sorry, Nige. Oh, we, sorry. But here you are talking about stuff that actually matters to people, like a communist.
Up to £2,400 a year, and save government £2 billion a year.
So you don't accept that you and the way you behave might be damaging the Greens?
I meet people all the time who actually say, in fact, a journalist...
Jesus Christ. The Green Party were nowhere before Zack Polanski. The Green Party were absolutely fucking nowhere. Jesus Christ! Like, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean you can't criticise his leadership. There's stuff to do, but like, if they were polling very, very poorly and had not very poorly, but better than they had been historically, but like they were not a major political force. Zack Polanski, amongst other people, I'm not giving him the sole credit for this, but he has been a very significant part of this, has led to a massive surge, both in leadership, both in membership and the potential voting basis. They won the first ever by-election they'd ever won, and won it fucking comfortably. It wasn't even close in the end. So the idea that Zack Polanski is the problem, like, I mean, I've seen some desperate stuff. Let's look at the stuff they've come up with. What, Hypnoboob didn't work? Him being anti-Semitic, even though he's a Jewish man who's the only leader of a political party who is Jewish, because of his opposition to genocide. They're now trying T-shirt gate. They tried the Met Police gate. They've tried all sorts of things on him, and now they're just like, "Aren't you the problem? Maybe you should just resign." And then we can get, no, it's Adrian Wamsey. I forgot Houseboat Gate, the canal boat tax that no one asked him to pay. Yeah, that thing. Which, again, didn't work. They're trying to throw as much shit at him as possible, and none of it's working. So now they're just resorted to, just resign, please resign, and then we can just get Adrian Ramsey in, and the Uniparty Briefcase Brigade will be one stronger. Yippity fucking doodah.
Just interviewed me on Saturday and said she thinks I'm rough around the edges, and that's why people are attracted to the work that I'm doing. That I do make mistakes.
You can treat me like a bit of rough around the edges, mate. Let's go. Hey-oo.
Mistakes, and that I own when I make a mistake, and actually I'm working really hard, and people can see that I'm doing it honestly, authentically, and that I'm not focus grouping. I'm not kind of run by some kind of corporate company. I'm listening every day to what I can do to make this country better, and working as hard as I can in the face of incredibly hostile press.
Okay. Can I ask you about
Incredibly hostile press, like you, Victoria.
social care, finally, if I may? Because
Finally? What do you mean finally? Like he's the one who decided? Like he's the one who decided not to talk about policy at all? Finally? After 12 fucking minutes, I'm going to ask you one question about policy, and I'm going to make it seem like you're the reason that we didn't talk about policy.
because we've learned in the last few minutes, at 10:30 this came out, the Prime Minister has issued an invitation to Kemi Badenoch and Sir Ed Davey for tomorrow to begin Andy Burnham
No. Are they playing one-on-one on FIFA? And he's invited Kevin as well.
says, a conversation about how to reform social care. Do you think you should have been invited to that?
I mean, that's a case for the Prime Minister. Actually, I think it's positive he's inviting opposition leaders at all, of course.
Do you think you should be there?
I mean, I would like to be there, of course I would, and I'd encourage the Prime Minister to extend that invitation. I think the point here, though, is not politicians' personal egos. The point is adult social care is a ticking time bomb. It makes no sense that if someone is ill with cancer, they get free healthcare as they should, but if they have dementia, they don't. And actually what we really, really need to do is get a grip of this. I think one of the biggest things we need to do is stop the outsourcing of private profit. In the last 3 years, in 3 regions of the UK, because of the outsourcing of social care, private providers have made up to £240 million. That money should actually be in the NHS and making sure we're funding adult social care.
True. Communism.
Okay. Finally, have you paid that council tax yet?
There you go, chat. In case you were wondering, they're still trying to make it a thing. They're still trying to make it a thing. Yeah, of course it's pre-watch. I watched this last night when it went out live. Yeah. It is absolutely shameless. Absolutely fucking shameless. Did you pay that tax? Did you pay that tax? Yeah, one more question. Yeah, she tried to Columbo him. Oh, just one more question, Mr. Polanski. My wife loves you. Did you pay that council tax? Just for anyone watching, he was never asked by the local council to pay tax on that property. I say property, it's a boat. Technically it was his domicile though, but for whatever reason they overlooked it and didn't ask anybody who lives on a boat in that area to pay council tax. Perhaps they should have done, they didn't. Do you regularly, Vicky, pay your council thousands of pounds that you don't need to, that they haven't asked you to pay? Do you make regular donations of tens of thousands of pounds to your local council on the off chance that there's a tax they've overlooked? No, of course you fucking don't. This isn't a story. You're trying to make fetch a thing again. Stop trying to make it a thing.
No, the council still don't know if I owe council tax or not. Obviously, I want to pay it as soon as I can if I have to pay anything.
Okay. Before I move and talk to our panel, I'm going to give you one more opportunity, if you want to take it, to apologise tonight.
Apologise! Jesus Christ! Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh no. Oh my God. I'm going to give you another opportunity, young man, to apologise, otherwise you're doing detention. It's your time you're wasting, not mine. The British media are scum. Kev, why haven't you apologised? Well, I'm sorry for not apologising. I apologise for not apologising. There. Does that work? Oh, God. Do you condemn the BBC? No, I like Big Back Cock. No, it's fine. I'm not letting you go home until you apologise. Okay? We'll stay here all night if we need to. You've been a very naughty boy. Apologise, Zachary. Fucking Christ almighty. And again, just to reiterate for you, she's one of the good ones. Victoria Derbyshire is one of the better journalists that we have in this nation. Just let that sink in. That's how bad our journalist class are. That's how fucking scummy these bastards are. Absolutely pathetic. Shameful. Fucking shameful. And again, I mean, just self-preservation alone. Self-preservation alone. Nigel Farage wants to fucking shut down the BBC. He wants to privatise the BBC completely and utterly. Which means you out of a fucking job, Victoria. When that eventually does happen, when either he or the Tories or some combination of the two get rid of the BBC will have no one to blame but themselves. absolutely no one to blame but themselves. Honestly, the most balls out thing he could have done, not that I'm suggesting he should have done this, would be turn up to the fucking interview wearing that t-shirt and just say, I ain't fucking apologising for shit. It's a fucking joke. It's a shitpost. It's a meme. The only thing I'm apologising for is Dragon. Dragon? What do you mean? Dragging these nuts on your face! Boom!
Nigel Farage.
Well, as I said, I believe in authenticity, and I don't think I've done anything wrong here. I've made a mistake, but it wasn't a purposeful mistake. It'd be very easy to apologise, but actually I think it would be false. And if nothing else, I'm always going to stand by my convictions.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Boom! That's how it's done. Love it. He did very well.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tonight, Zack Polanski, leader of the Green Party in England and Wales. Gloria Di Piero, what do you make of what you've just heard?
Well, I thought it was a very good interview, and I was expecting an apology, and I was going to say, you know, people do make mistakes.
I don't give a fuck what this bitch has to say. Should we talk to a posh bird instead? Let's do that. I reckon. Let's get us a cheeky bit of posh bird. Boom. Don't know why you're making funny noises. Beep. Don't know what we're going to cover because this is basically all I had. I was just going to do this. How do you think Zack Polanski did in that interview? I thought he played it pretty well, actually. I was thinking that would have been a boss move, or alternatively a subtler move would be to wear an XTC shirt. I get it, but like people wouldn't really get that reference, I don't think. Hello there. Oh, thank you, DJ Che, for raiding in. By the way, I missed that. I was too busy. Too busy doing my thing. Too busy ranting. Watch Andy Burnham's speech from earlier. Yeah, we could do that, I guess. That could be fun. What is this? It's a link to something.
Even the bad...
The case for fascism. Oh, good lord. Okay. Oh, domestic abuser likes fascism. What a surprise. Please get in the bin, Crowder. Did he say anything important? I'm not sure. I didn't see it. I presume he was talking about social care or something. Let's have a gander. Burnham speech today. Let's have a look. In full. Nordic Spirit nicotine pouches. Okay. Where is it?
Our own families are not directly affected.
Oh look, it's Mrs. Ed Balls. And then it's some random other person. Where there are some crusty white people here. Let's have a gander. Right. Well, it's queued up. Can someone go into Helena's chat and like poke her with a stick? She's probably doing a segment or something, but interrupt that segment with annoyance. Thank you, Ruth, who says, can you do a live stream on how much a country of 10 million has so much power over much bigger nations, i.e. Israel? Well, to be fair, we have covered that pretty extensively. And it's not so much that Israel has a power over other countries, it's that other countries find Israel and its uses rather important. So, America, the world's hegemon, until relatively recently. What do you mean she's not on? She definitely is on. Or she was on. Oh, she's on the pre-roll bit. Okay, well. Tell her to hurry up then. Anyway. Yeah, sorry. America as the world's sort of superpower has found the Middle East a very difficult region to deal with. It doesn't have many friends there. It's essentially bought a lot of friends in Saudi Arabia and Egypt and places like that, but it doesn't have any natural friends in that region. So what it needs, what it needed was a military base, an outpost of its empire, a kind of franchise outlet of the American empire in that region. And in Israel, it found a perfect foil for its plans. And so it's not so much that Israel has power over America, albeit that Zionists do have a lot of phenomenally disproportional amount of power, and that's because of a lot of money that's given to American politicians to buy them. Because that you can just do that in American politics. You can literally just fucking buy people. And so they have influence in that respect. But it's broader than just Israel having the power. It's that Zionism is a very useful vehicle that the American establishment has used to get its sort of tentacles into that region, which is the region where all the oil is. So it's very important for them to be able to control it. And Israel does that very well. You can see that in the fact that, although of course Israel threw the now dead, and I definitely didn't kill him, former senator for North Carolina, is it, or somewhere? Whatever, South Carolina. The gay lad who was pretending not to be gay. Anyway, he, along with Benjamin Netanyahu, convinced Trump to do the war. But the war itself, assuming it doesn't become too protracted, is actually a potentially good thing for America, or a good thing for the American establishment, because what they want to do is have unfettered access to Iranian oil. So if they can get the Iranian regime to fall, which I don't think they will, but this is I suppose, the game plan, as it were. If they could get the Iranian regime to fall and have a Western-friendly nation, a Shah 2.0, as it were, they'd be very, very happy for that. So it's not that America is controlled by Israel, it's that America and Zionist actors, Zionist financial influence, controls much of the world, unfortunately. So that's why America pays for their healthcare, etc. It makes sense, Kev. Well, no, I mean, essentially, yeah, it's keeping... That nation needs to exist, not because Zionists want it to exist, but because the Americans need it to exist. Obviously, Zionists care about Zionism, but America cares about America. And to be fair, there are lots of Americans who are Zionists, but that's a different matter. Pardon me. I think Kevin didn't show that bit. Of what? What did you not show? What am I missing, chat? Don't forget, you can give me money in the form of bits and subs and all of that shite if you wanted to. You can subscribe and all of those things. Yeah, see you later, Flow Snake. That's not a problem. It's not even just Zionist buying politicians, it's that Israel is so intermeshed with many corporations that being sponsored by them are also supporting Israel. Well, literally true. Yeah, one of the companies that are bidding for, or want to bid for, future exploration in the North Sea are Israeli. So basically, and linked to the funding of settlements and stuff in the West Bank. Sorry, in the West Bank, yeah. So it would literally be North Sea oil funding genocide in the Middle East. Which, you know, that doesn't seem good. That seems like a very bad thing, actually. What is this nonsense? Oh, okay. Helena, would you like...
Howdy.
Would you like to take this opportunity to apologise to Nigel Farage?
No.
See, that's the correct answer.
No, I would like to not apologise to Nigel Farage. And that's it. I mean, what's your take on the whole... I'm assuming you have a very similar take to me on the whole Zack Polanski apology discourse.
This is a non-story. This is Westminster bullshit. It shows that the media are foul and corrupted scumfucks, and that I think his handling of it has been pretty good, and I don't think there will be any amount of a decrease in polling based on this, to be honest with you.
No, I think people forget it by next week. What I will say is that genuinely insane that this story overcame a bunch of really important stuff happening in Russia, Ukraine, for example.
Yeah.
And so much so that people like Nicholas Watt, the fucking Newsnight political correspondent, was being fucking on last night's Newsnight. He was being interrupted mid-segment, having text conversations with Reform UK spokespeople.
Yeah.
To get their opinions on Zack fucking Polanski's Instagram collaboration.
They're stenographers for fascism now. When the BBC gets closed down by Prime Minister Farage on his first day, they'll have no one to blame but themselves.
Literally.
And Vicky D and the rest of them can join us in the camps that are going to be opened, and we're going to be in there. And you'll have done it to yourselves. Well done.
Yeah. That will be their reality under the coming regime. But yeah, in terms of the apology though, I think there was I made the point on Twitter, which was just that, I mean, why would you be sorry? First of all, Nigel Farage never apologizes for anything. Why should anyone show him the same courtesy on anything at all in reverse? They will never let it won't let the story drop, right? Apologizing doesn't make the story go away. People don't accept apologies. They just don't in the modern political landscape. Apologies don't. They are both meaningless for the people who say the apologies, because half of them don't mean it, and they're meaningless to the people who they're supposed to be apologizing to, because no one accepts it. So why the fuck would anyone bother?
Yeah.
And lastly on this one, it would again accept that what this was anything other than just him him not checking a set of somebody else's Instagram posts.
Yeah. Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, firstly, not only would it not be taken in good faith, but literally, I just watched the thing on the BBC last night, and she brought up an apology he'd previously made and threw up that up in his face about this. And you're like, so you're asking him to apologise whilst also weaponising a previous apology he had made, as if that was a bad thing, or that was a thing for which he has set a precedent, so he has to apologise for everything ever, apparently. It's ridiculous. There's no positive utility in apologising. It's a bad state of affairs that that's the case, because you should be able to. There should be space for accepting what you did was wrong and moving on from that and becoming a better person, but there isn't that fucking space. We don't live in that reality. If you apologise, you're losing. Simple as that. It's taken as weakness and will be punished. So don't bother. 100%. Don't fucking do it. And
don't back doon. And double doon.
Exactly. And secondly, We're being asked to take seriously the proposition that we should apologise to Nigel Farage, who doesn't apologise for anything, and that in a political landscape where all of the major political parties outside of the two nationalist parties and the Green Party are currently actively cheerleading genocide, but we should apologise to one of the people who wants to do the genocide more, and indeed was happy to go into the war in Iran, for somebody else wearing a T-shirt.
I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's totally fucking ridiculous.
It's absolutely farcical. We are the shit. The British media are just scum. They just are. They're just rats. They're fucking vermin. All of them.
I mean, most of my day today has been having to combat media misinformation around disability welfare, which is absolutely fucking rampant.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the media over the past, obviously the past year, the last couple of years, but certainly it seems since Andy Burnham has become Prime Minister, they're trying to hammer him specifically on welfare. And it's just story after story of disinformation or chop statistics or people not understanding things or people in positions of authority not challenging people getting things deliberately wrong. And all it's doing is just, again, I just want these journalists who talk this shit about the disabled, honestly, just call them useless eaters. I know that's what you think, right? I know that's what you're actually trying to manufacture the consent for. Say it with your whole fucking chest.
Yeah. And Burnham doesn't help himself by being a shit eater for it as well. Literally, in that thing we watched where he was like, oh, we think benefits should be conditional. Like, motherfucker, they always are. The only unconditional benefit is the fucking pension. Everyone else's benefits, you have to do X, Y, and Z and jump through fucking hoops like a good little dog to get anything out of the fucking state.
No, well, Kevin, but according to no-name morons on Twitter who, for some reason, host shows on fucking talk radio, apparently it's very easy. You walk in and they just hand you free money if you say, I'm a bit anxious.
Yeah, that is how it works, definitely. They fire money out of you out of a T-shirt cannon for £10 notes, yes.
Literally. I've been doing this now when I've been having these discussions. I've been like, so it's really easy, and people just handing out money for people claiming to have anxiety, right? Okay, do it then. Go on, go fill up your PIP form then. If you think it's free money and it's super fucking easy and anyone can do it and scan the system, you do it. You go do that right now. You go show me how easy it is. Record it. Show the whole world how easy this is.
Yeah, because it's not. And like you say, they're just trying to manufacture consent for these people being unworthy of life, as it was once described. That's exactly how they see it.
So, for example, on Twitter, opinion spewer Alison Pearson says, if we could simply reduce disability claimants to the number before lockdown, we would save £24 billion a year, enough to fund a chunky part of social care. Customer benefits are vital. So this is nonsense, by the way. This is a nonsense statistic. Like, the idea that you would save X amount of money just by the number of disability claims going down is nonsense. Every single disability claim has a different amount associated with it based upon the severity of the disability, the kind of disability that it is, whether you are in or out of work. The idea that there is some specific number of the idea that there's some specific number attached to the increase in disability of the specific ones that have claimed since the pandemic, again, which isn't just people getting new disabilities, it's people coming of age, the older cohort dying. It's a rolling number. There's not like a fixed number of the true disabled and then an extra number plunked on because of the pandemic. No, this is how, these people just don't understand how statistics work. I'm sick of these people just pretending they know how things work when they just fucking don't. This person is a professional, quote unquote, journalist. And she's out here just spewing fucking nonsense. Again, because they are of this received wisdom based upon zero evidence at all, by the way, no evidence at all for any of this, that somehow there must be loads of disability benefit fraud, even though the official DWP figures say that the PIP fraud rate is basically zero.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. They just want to manufacture consent for, can we just mince them down? Actually, what they were really scared of is that he might put up taxes on rich people at all. Which, by the way, he probably won't. He'll just borrow more, I would imagine. But he's not. He's going to try and eviscerate the poor. But can we do so more in order to cover any spending on social care? That's what they're scared of, really.
I mean, that's basically what the Conservative position now is just go taxes, welfare, taxes, welfare. Like it's again David Cameron all over again. I feel like this is just literally the world of British politics is just bouncing from Blair to David Cameron and back again. There was a brief Boris Johnson interregnum, but basically every other prime minister since 1979 has either just been Cameron or Blair. Everyone, they're all of them are fucking same.
It's continuity Thatcherism.
Yep.
That's all we've had for damn near 50 years now.
Literally, I'm just like, it's so frustrating because I just feel like I'm in this never-ending cycle and it's miserable. I genuinely fucking hate living in this country now. It's so frustrating having to just spend my time around the most miserable, spiteful, grievance-fueled, crabs in a bucket style, like fucking happinessless monsters, right? Like people totally devoid of the milk of human kindness. It's miserable.
Yeah, literally, I think that the statistic about the number of older people who said that had England won the World Cup, so obviously before it turns out we've been not going to, turns out it wasn't coming home for the millionth time in a row. Even if we had one, they shouldn't be a day off. Like they're just like, no, why should I? Because I'm already having the day off because I'm fucking retired. So why should anyone else be getting anything at all? You fucking horrible little cunts. And the entire government, you can tell how bad. Like it's so perfectly understandable why the governments have been consistently shit when every single policy has to be tailored to that mindset. Because those are the people that vote.
Yeah, it's infuriating. It's genuinely fucking infuriating. Meanwhile, like, it's just they get everything they want. They get everything they fucking want out of every single policy, and they still complain.
Yep. And they'll still talk about like two-tier everything else as if they're the victims of things rather than the benefit of everything.
It's such a fucking endlessly miserable population. It makes living in this country so fucking depressing.
Yeah, because you have to walk around knowing, like, at least 1 in 3 of the people around you would happily see you put into a camp. They have to hide it well, but like, they're not that well anymore, and they're happy to just be like, no, we don't mean you. For now, it's just migrants. What do you mean for now? I mean,
they would literally,
yeah.
They would literally detonate bombs across the global south if they meant like one fewer hoodie at the skate park around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. 100%.
Like, so I got mad about this on stream yesterday as well, which is the Times article saying that a 16-year-old working the legal minimum 12 hours a week during term time earns about £94. And for PIP for anxiety, they can receive £194 by staying at home, which is nonsense, by the way, from the Times.
Yeah.
I.e., people don't claim PIP for anxiety. That's one thing. You get PIP for having a certain level to which your disability affects your daily living. You have to answer a checklist. It's how your disability affects you, not the kind of disability you have. Basically, nobody, apart from people with the most severe anxiety disorders, get anything close to claiming PIP because they wouldn't qualify based upon the daily living criteria. And the £194 that they're claiming here isn't PIP, it is the higher rate of PIP, i.e. for the severely disabled, also claiming the higher rate mobility elements, not just severely disabled to the point at which you qualify for the most severe form of lack of mobility, so basically fucking paraplegics.
I was about to say, cases. I don't know any level of anxiety that means you literally cease having motor function.
Yeah. So the idea that anyone with anxiety is qualifying for higher rate PIP and higher rate mobility is nonsense, right? Like, maybe there's one, or again, because what they're claiming here is that they're getting PIP for anxiety, which what they mean is that someone's kind of myriad different conditions that they have. Most disabled people have anxiety because it's not exactly the life of Riley being disabled, I'll tell you that. And so they look at it and go, well, they are included in the number of people who have anxiety, even though they probably are claiming PIP for a different disability that they also have at the same time. I mean, that's also basically untrue based upon the Times' reporting. And then on top of this, they say by staying home as if PIP is an out-of-work benefit. It isn't. It has no work requirement. People who are in work claim PIP. A sixth of the people who claim PIP are in work, because it's nothing to do with whether or not you're working. It's not unemployment benefit. That's what LCWRA and Universal Credit are for. It is a specific benefit to deal with the extra costs of being disabled regardless of your income status. So it's just all lies.
Yeah. And we should be genuinely worried by this, not just disgusted on a moral level, but genuinely worried about the echoes of history on this one. Because people forget that the Holocaust didn't start with the killing of Jewish people, particularly. I mean, you can talk about the pogroms and stuff, true, but those were largely sort of manufactured but disorganised outbreaks of racial violence. The actual organised slaughter of people by the state was largely disabled people. In the Action T4 program, where they took life unworthy of life, was the phrase they used, and executed them at specific designated sites, purpose-built for that eventuality. They murdered tens of thousands of disabled people because they were seen as a drag on society. They were not helping.
Eaters.
And so the consent for that was manufactured by years and years and years of propaganda from state-run media, but also from just general conservative soft feeding these people, the ordinary people, lies about how disabled people were a drag on society. And this was sort of pre the kind of welfare state of the post-war world. They weren't even really a drag on society, but it was a way of essentially distracting people from the Great Recession. It's not the bankers that have got all your money, it's the disabled.
And the bankers that do have your money, they're all Jewish.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so
I mean, they literally brought a government minister onto Times Radio to fucking quiz on this particular issue. Let me share my screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it did start with T4. Interestingly, I'm such a nerd, I can even tell you what T4 stands for. It's the address in the Tiergartenstrasse 4. From which it was administered.
Anyway, can you see my screen?
I can indeed. Now everyone else can see your screen too. Go for it.
So I think where people have real health issues that need help, that's what the system is there to do. But it's obviously a source of real concern to me, and I think the Prime Minister was clear about this over the weekend as well, that there are an increasing number of young people who are on PIP rather than in work. It is right that the last Prime Minister...
Pause there, Mr. Faulkner. They're not on PIP instead of in work. They are on PIP. They could get work tomorrow. PIP has nothing to do with work. Again, trying to manufacture consent with the public that it's somehow an unemployment benefit. It isn't.
But everyone's just bought into this. Every single part of the political establishment has bought into the nonsense.
Yep.
The framing has been established. The narrative has been set.
Yep.
And the last cabinet took decisions in order to make sure that there are guarantees that if you're out of work for 18 months, you'll get an opportunity, whether it's training or employment, to try and get you back into work.
But could we just talk... Also, it's not an opportunity they're offering. It is workfare they are offering. This isn't voluntary. If you're out of work for 18 months, they will put you in a job, and if you do not do it, they take away your benefits, right? And it's not with the government. This isn't a job guarantee program coming from the state to try and raise the number of jobs available for people to go and work at. It is workfare subsidised by the state in private companies they've partnered with, including Severn Trent fucking Water, the people pouring shit into the rivers.
Yeah, so essentially slave labour, or virtually slave labour, for private enterprise. Another way of putting public money into private hands. Because that's all the neoliberal government is there to do.
Literally, and again, like, if it was a job guarantee and it was totally voluntary and it was with the state, pretty good policy. I would support it. I support the state creating new jobs to be able to increase the numbers available, to increase the bargaining power of workers, as long as it's voluntary and with the state. As soon as it becomes involuntary and with the private sector, it becomes a supply-side labour market policy rather than a demand-side labour policy, meaning it drives wages down, drives competition down for workers. It means workers have less bargaining power.
Yeah. But also, It can't be compulsory because we had the new Prime Minister saying he was going to make it conditional, which must mean it was unconditional before, right?
So frustrating.
About that contrast for those teenagers, that you actually would get double the amount of income in a week if you're on PIP rather than going to work. Does that...
And again, she's lying here by saying that it is going on PIP. No, it is specifically going on PIP and qualifying for the higher rate of both kinds of the halves of the PIP, right? It'll be higher rate PIP in terms of the actual original PIP you get, and it'll be higher rate mobility payment on top of that, like is the maximum that you can qualify with PIP. And of course, they don't want to tell the audience that they have tried to specifically engineer the figure to make it as high as possible, because they're not doing this to inform the public, they're doing this to manufacture consent for mulching the disabled.
They're doing this specifically to misinform the public. You might call it lies or propaganda, perhaps, you know?
Well, the thing is, they can get away with, it's not technically lies. You can theoretically qualify for both the higher PIP element and the higher mobility element of PIP all at the same time to get the maximum PIP allowance, which would technically be more than working 12 hours a week as a young person. Also insane that 12 hours a week only gets you like 90 odd quid as a young person, but you know, nevertheless, that's the real scandal here, is how low the wages are. But like, they're not technically saying things that are like untrue, they're just obviously presented in the worst context possible and are deliberately there to misinform the public, not in terms of the fact of the matter, but in terms of the framing.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there's no like, oh, some mild anxiety led someone to become crippled from the neck down. No, obviously not. Like, the people getting the maximum are like disabled to a degree that makes their lives difficult to lead in any other way. Like, they're not going to be able to ever get a job, basically, are they? Because they're completely and utterly immobile, in essence. We're talking about the most disabled people you can think of.
I mean, that's probably true. I mean, maybe there might be some things they might end up doing. They might be able to do like advocacy work or charity work or something. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to try and write off entire groups of people as being unable to work. But you're right. Like, the likelihood of somebody with all of the high rates of PIP being able to work, I think, is pretty low. And there are plenty of people on lower rates who will almost certainly be working in lots of cases. And the number of people, and also it's worth pointing out, by the way, when you look at the official DWP figures, the number of PIP claimants who are in work as a percentage is increasing over time. Like, that's not going down, right? The number of people who are disabled who are going into work is actually going up currently. It's not going down, right? The idea that somehow that PIP is out of control because of worklessness rather than the rise in disability is disproven by the DWP's own figures. But of course, that would involve anybody in the right of politics engaging with any data at all rather than their fees.
Yeah. Well, they'd have to be capable of good faith dialogue, and they're not.
Or of being able to interpret statistics.
Does that sound like the right balance to you?
Well, it sounds to me like where people need serious help because they have health conditions that they cannot address in any other way, that's what the PIP system is there for. But I think what you're asking me, Rosie, is the system creating bad incentives for young people to not get into work and not take the steps that they need to launch themselves into working life? That is exactly the issue that we're focused on.
But it's not true. That's not happening, because getting PIP doesn't stop you working.
Yeah. It's a complete non sequitur.
Yeah, total non sequitur.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it's just...
Also, as pointed out in chat, this is the same Hamish Faulkner who was last seen denying a genocide. So...
That is true.
Yeah, no.
Although it's interesting they've got the Intergovernmental Relations Minister on to be interviewed about something that's the remit of the DWP. It just really seemed really strange that we're expecting ministers from totally different departments. And this guy's only ever worked in the FCDO. The idea that this guy's anything in terms of knowledge of disability or of DWP stuff, again, like, I can potentially forgive him for not knowing, but given that this is the discourse, right, and you almost certainly get asked roughly about what you're going to be asked about when you are on the air, fucking Google.
Yeah.
Google what kind of PIP gets £194 a week, right? And you will find that it's the most severely disabled of all of the people in the country who get this. Not every Tom, Dick, and Harry who applies because they're slightly disabled as opposed to severely disabled. And he would be able to riposte with, you're using the figures for both higher rates here, well, you're being disingenuous. But again, like, they're not on top of their brief and not on top of other people's briefs either.
Okay, right. You're making very good points there, and I'm going to be very silly by quoting someone in chat because it's so true. He looks like if Mr. Bean did looks maxing. his cortisol levels are off the charts. Chat.
Is it Mr. Bean procreating with clavicular?
Literally.
Do you think there are some negative incentives here?
Well, I think that's behind your question. You're asking me, is the PIP system, meaning that lots of young people are choosing to go on PIP rather than work? And I don't know whether or not that is the case, but I do.
No, it's not the fucking case, you dumb bastard. What are you talking about?
You Google it, right? Genuinely, I hate Darren Jones. People in chat know this, and I've ragged on the guy loads of times. One time, he was asked a question on LBC, and he answered and said, I don't know, I'm going to text my department to find out what our answer is, and found out mid-call. I want that to happen significantly more often.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Because if he knew what PIP was, if he knew how this shit worked, again, not his department, I'm not going to drag him across the coals for not knowing exactly what's going on here, but again, you probably would have been asked, you probably would have been told pre-interview, we're going to ask you about PIP at some point. Maybe it would have been worth, typing it into ChatGPT.
Well, not, but literally, like, if you don't know stuff, I don't expect a politician to know everything. So, if you ask a question and he goes, I tell you what, I'll text my mate who works at that department and I'll ask them.
Yeah.
And then he can tell you. Because at the moment, this is a man floundering. He does not really know the answer, and he has to try and make it seem like he does, or that he has any clue what's going on, which obviously he doesn't.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely agree. And also on top of this, lots of people in the political establishment presume the journalists they're talking to aren't bullshitting them, when that happens very often.
Yeah, that seems like a strange thing. You'd think they would know, but I don't know.
You know that there are an increasing number of young people on PIP, and what really worries me, and I see it in my own constituency, is when young people don't get into work early in their life. It often gets much harder to get into work later in life, and work is such an important part of life, not just because people should be paying their own way wherever they can, but because work is such an important source of meaning and dignity.
It does. It looks absolutely.
What I think we'll be looking for is how you better motivate people to work.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Mr. Faulkner. It makes you free. You're absolutely correct. No, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, wonderful. You should put that on a fucking gate outside Parliament, you cunts.
I don't quite understand that language. Can you say it in a language that I might be able to understand?
Okay. Do you speak German at all?
I do speak German. Yeah.
Well, I will just say Arbeit macht frei then.
Indeed so. I now know.
Although I can't remember why, but someone we were watching a silly video the other day about, it was a woman who went to the British CPAC convention to find her husband. It was a comedy thing, right? And it was very, very funny. And they started talking about dating apps, conservative dating apps, or like cooking or something. And so I just put it to chat, because I always do that, because my chat are creative mental bastards. And so I said, what would a right-wing cooking app be called? And someone came up with the perfect suggestion, spelt F-R-Y, Arbeit macht frei. Absolutely fucking chef's kiss. Beautiful.
That is excellent work.
Look, it's rare. It's rare you can have an opinion-based answer that is demonstrably the best answer you can get.
Also, thank you, Platform Radio, for the £5 super chat. Ben McLean from Turn Left wants to do a Zoom call to discuss how I can help out with them, or the chatter can help out with them. So they may be joining their teams. I'd love to hear it, Platform Radio. Thank you very much. That sounds like excellent news.
Good.
I mean, Andy Burnham said in that interview you're talking about over the weekend, he might increase the conditions on people required to receive benefits. How should he do that?
Well, listen, that will be a conversation that the Work and Pension Secretary will be having with their ministers.
But in
We've
essence,
already
do
taken...
you think he should do that?
Look, I think we need to do everything that we can to help young people into work with whatever support they need to do that. And the Prime Minister was clear.
Again, this is
not just...
It's so
about punitive-
disingenuous. The Tories did this as well. You're not giving people support to get back into work. You're giving them all stick and no carrot. That's it. You're threatening them with starvation and homelessness. That's it.
That is the reality of welfare cuts. Yeah.
There's no support here. The entire system is based around these people being fucking scum, and that anything that's given to them, like, they give it with all the same good grace that the people who ran fucking workhouses did. It's the same exact mentality. We are going to give you just enough to survive, and you should be fucking grateful, and if you don't do exactly what we say, you're on the fucking streets, you cunts. It's exactly the same thing 200 years later.
I literally saw an argument of that ilk coming from Henry Hill from Conservative Home, and he was literally like, yeah, Beveridge was wrong and we need to get rid of the entire welfare state from top to bottom. All it's done is create dependency, and we basically need to bring back workhouses was what I got from what he was saying then. I'm like, yeah, like, conservatism has just always been a moral sewer.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Conservatism is just rich people enforcing, I don't know, their disgusting lust for seeing people suffer below them, and trying to rationalise that as a political ideology rather than it just being a pathology.
Yeah.
Measures, it's about giving people the support they need.
But it's also, what he's saying is increasing conditions on people required to get the benefits. So that is making it more difficult to receive them rather than just providing those work incentives. Is that the right balance?
Well, I think in that interview he talked about both things, but look, we've got to look at all options to make sure that we reverse the trends of more young people being out of work.
Could you tell us what any of those options are right now?
I can't. I'm sure that the relevant ministers will be coming forward once they've had those discussions.
I mean, literally, if it was me, I would not take any of these journalists anyway seriously. And I would literally say, I am literally the fucking FCDO. I don't have any idea about the fucking welfare policy. Why the fuck you asking me about welfare policy? Ask me about our intergovernmental relations with fucking Brussels, right? Or, with Madrid. And maybe I can tell you something and give you a proper answer. If you want DWP questions, go and talk to fucking Pat McFadden. He's the one who knows.
I mean, they tried to do that, but everyone who was interviewing him fell asleep. So it's sort of difficult to get through. He's very soporific,
True. Or they ended up with 2 weird marks on their neck.
yeah, they all became immortal, but not in a good way.
Literally. And then this wasn't the
maybe,
only one.
Maybe that's what
right?
Anne Widdecombe should have done.
Literally, and this wasn't the only thing that happened as well.
Right, go on.
My mouse is just not working. There we go. Let me drag this one over, if my mouse will continue to work. So this was... Can you see Osama Mir on your screen now?
I can indeed.
So this was Osama Mir on LBC taking calls on this stuff. And whilst, of course, the caller is a moron too, just the reaction is also frustrating as well.
Okay.
I have lots of friends. Some of them would like to be able to claim PIP and are unable to. And then other friends that do claim PIP and maybe shouldn't be claiming PIP.
Time out. Would like to be able to. What, they want to be disabled? What do you mean by that? Like, are you suggesting that people are making that choice? Like, well, I'm basically disabled, so I'm going to pretend. I'm just going to apply. Like, no. In order to get anything, you have to be disabled on some level, right? On some pretty severe level at times. So to say you have people who want to claim benefit is to say that a person who is able-bodied wishes to not be able-bodied. You're a fucking idiot.
I mean, my assumption is that they think that they're disabled, but they've been denied PIP, potentially. Maybe that's the framing they're going with it.
Well, I know, but they're so stupid they don't even realise what they're saying. Because they're so fucked up in the head that they should probably apply for PIP, obviously. Being so fucking mentally dilapidated, you probably would get the higher rate, I imagine. You prick.
I mean, And they're also saying there are people, I have other friends who are getting PIP who maybe shouldn't. And I'm just like, I'm sure you're well aware of their daily struggles. I'm sure that you, as this person who clearly has these quote-unquote friends who you denigrate continually in terms of thinking they're all welfare scroungers, I'm sure you're intimately aware of their financial position and their disability position enough to be able to know this, whilst also apparently hating their fucking guts.
I was about to say, yeah, if I had a friend who thought I was fucking scum and was happy to say so on the radio, I probably wouldn't be their friend very much longer.
No, exactly, yeah. Who needs friends like this, eh?
And it ranges from a friend of mine who has fibromyalgia. She really struggles to go to work. She's in pain constantly.
So that means that the PIP assessment criteria are too draconian. What you're describing there is the system being so punitive that it's literally shutting people out of it who do need it.
Yeah, yeah. And also, when we talk about the increased numbers, is it possible, just possible, dear chap, that for years and years people were massively underclaiming it and that we were a more disabled society than we ever wanted to believe?
I will go on further. The DWP website, the official government website for disability, specifically claims that they know that the overall rate of disability in the country is higher than the rate of PIP claims, meaning that there is a significant undersubscription to this at time of recording. They know full well there are plenty of people who qualify for PIP who should be getting it who are not getting it.
Yeah, I was being more rhetorical, but yes, yeah, absolutely. People have always been disabled. They've always had mental health problems. The Conservatives try and pretend like, well, back in the day this wasn't a problem. No, back in the day they just committed suicide because there was no help for them. Back in the day, they were just the village idiot or a random homeless person. That's it. That was the life that these people would have led back in the day. We are at least more conscious that this is a reality. And so we accept that these people are ill rather than just, oh, they're bonkers. These people are not put in sideshows anymore. Although, to be honest with you, the current political discourse is little more civilised. These people have always existed. It's just they were essentially ignored in the same way that, left-handedness, we need to pull out the left-handed graph. When it became socially acceptable to be left-handed, all of the people who were already left-handed just stayed left-handed rather than being forced to be right-handed.
Turns out society should technically progress. It's weird that there is a group of people in society whose specific raison d'etre as a political ideology is to stop that happening, is to arrest the momentum of progress.
Literally, all conservatism is holding back the progress of humanity. And that's why I fight them. Because without so, there will never be any human progress. If we just allow conservatives to win, nothing good will ever happen. And I don't say that to be over the top. I mean, literally, they don't want good things to happen. Now, the more genuine of them think that those not good things happening are good things because they're idiots. But the more sinister and evil bastards know that it's wrong, but love it anyway.
Yep, quite literally. Quite literally.
She wasn't able to get it because she was okay. She could bath herself. She can cook her dinners, and she's fine. But then we have other friends that, like a young 25.
Whoa. Just because she can cook her dinners and bathe herself, fibromyalgia is, I believe, a thing that affects the lungs quite badly. So,
and also, like it's up and down. So there are some times where it's incredibly difficult to do certain things.
Yeah.
But like most of the time, you're okay. In my experience of dealing with friends that had fibromyalgia, and in some cases, of course, these conditions can be worse or better, but depending on who it is.
Yeah.
You know, affect everyone differently.
And it can be degenerative, so it gets worse with time, or maybe not. But the point being is that just because the person is able to do these things doesn't mean that their condition doesn't make those things incredibly difficult to do. Doesn't mean they can't do them, it just means it takes a huge amount of effort, both physically and mentally, to do very basic things. And the people who suffer that should be given aid and assistance in order to live their lives comfortably, because doing those things on top of also having to go to work or take care of other people who are dependent and all the rest of it, would be massively, so much of a drain on them that it would make life basically unlivable. So we should make their lives livable. Yes?
No, that's communism, Kevin.
Sorry, I just did an anti-Semitism. I apologise.
Year-old who is actually working and has just claimed PIP for, I don't know, probably mental health reasons.
Whoa! Okay, I mean, I wanted to whoa there at possibly. But you go, probably, I reckon, probably mental health or something.
Literally, this is the level to which that the scepticism of the disabled is just mainstreamed in polite society now.
Like, if you don't know, maybe don't guess.
And again, it shows you how close these friends are. That you literally are so removed from the daily life of this person, presumably because you're blasting them on fucking LBC, right? Again, like, some friend they must be to you, given what you're doing right now at this very instance on the call, right? And also, clearly not enough for a friend to share with you basics in terms of the things they have going on in their life that make them disabled. Where you go, well, there's probably mental health in it. Literally, like the, again, like literally doing the meme. Doing the meme.
Well, look, I'm not going to suggest this person doesn't know these people. What I am going to say is that I think the description of friend is only going one way. Yeah. I don't think these other people would describe her as their friend.
Still work, and she's just been awarded the enhanced PIP and gone out.
Sorry, I missed the end of your thing there. I was fiddling around with my earpiece and then it accidentally pressed play.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I would suggest that she might describe them as friends, but they wouldn't describe her as a friend.
No, true, that Spock meme. Are you two friends? Yes? No.
No.
Sorry, it's not Spock, it's Tuvok, sorry. The other Vulcan.
Fucking geek!
The cooler one. Let me replay that so I don't cut you off right again.
And she's just been awarded the enhanced PIP and gone out and bought a brand new car with it. It just grinds my gears a little.
So I mean, firstly, you don't know what amount of money she spent on what vehicle, or even that she paid for the vehicle, presumably. But are you suggesting that the thing that's meant to aid in, someone's mobility, she went and spent on a thing that can do precisely that? A thing that is literally designed specifically to make humans that have two legs that travel quite slowly travel much quicker. That kind of vehicle. Are you suggesting that they did that with the money?
And it's insane, really, isn't it? And again, they're in work, they get PIP, right? Like, they consume like normal individuals because that's all PIP is there to do, is to alleviate the costs of being disabled. The idea that this person has spent PIP on their car, having already acknowledged that they're in work. Like, no one has hypothecated PIP. You don't spend it on a specific thing anyway. Maybe they qualify for Motability, maybe they don't. This person clearly has no idea, otherwise they would say. But in this case, right, you can't in any way make the claim that the PIP money has gone on the car, given they could have spent their fucking work money on the car, or a mixture of the two. It all goes into the same pot anyway.
So this person probably has mental health, but she doesn't know, spent a money that, like you say, is not specifically designated to be spent on any particular thing, and she used maybe some of that money on a thing that is going to greatly enhance her ability to move.
Just insane levels of not understanding the point. But then again, like, they've been deliberately fed misinformation by journalist after journalist, or opinion spewer after opinion spewer, by politicians, people representing the government, etc., getting this all wrong because, again, they haven't spent 5 fucking minutes researching how the welfare system works, to the point where the Prime Minister goes, well, we need to make the benefits conditional. They're all fucking conditional.
Yep.
They're all conditional.
Yep.
The only one that's not conditional, really, apart from the numbers of qualifying years of national insurance you to get, is fucking the state pension. And no one's talking about cutting the state pension or making it means tested. And we shouldn't. Of course we shouldn't. Not
true. Not true. In order to get the state pension, you have to buy and then rent back at exorbitant prices at least 2 houses every year.
True. And you must go on at least 2 Saga cruises every year.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know how they survive.
Little bit when I just think people are claiming it, and I don't really think that they should be claiming it. I have lots of
And again, she goes, oh, I don't think they should be claiming it. I don't give a shit what you think. I care what experts think, what policy experts think, not what fucking idiots calling into LBC think. And second of all, we have a journalist here at any point during any of this, a supposed journalist, you know, someone doing journalist impressions on your screen here, in the form of Osama Mir, at any point could have gone, okay, so how do you know they spent the PIP money on the car? Like, how do you know that? You don't know what their actual condition is.
Well, I was about
while
to say,
you're claiming these.
Just the basics. When she said probably, stop her there and go, what do you mean probably? What's that probably based upon exactly?
I would literally have been, so you mean you don't know?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Then why on earth are you trying to admonish this person on live radio when you don't even fucking know?
And why
one.
And why should we care about the opinion of who should or shouldn't get PIP from a person who doesn't even ask their apparently close friends, why have you applied for this thing?
Literally. And on top of that, she would also have been able to reply if she knew what the fuck she was talking about and go, well, it doesn't matter if they're spending money on a car. PIP's just there to be able to cover the additional costs of being disabled. And you don't know they've spent the PIP money on the car. Like, how did you know this? She could have questioned any of this, but she's not bothered questioning any of this because A, she's an idiot, and B, like, she knew on LBC they do like whole hours worth of call-ins about a certain topic. These things are decided well before, presumably in some way of a collaboration between the researchers and the presenters to know what to talk about. In the time between deciding what the topic is going to be and going live on air, Ms. Osama Mir, did you ever not think to go to Google for 5 fucking minutes and type in, how do I claim for PIP, and understand anything about the system that you're going to spend the next hour, spend an hour of your time as a paid journalist trying to pretend to inform the public on? Nope, just going to take up calls from random fucking idiot members of the public and then not bother even in any way questioning the stupid shit that they say.
Well, because that would be, you'd need a journalist for that and not a cosplayer pretending to be a journalist. But unfortunately, we have the latter and not the former. So.
Just, again, infuriating levels of failures here because, again, I'm not asking for things to be difficult. I'm not asking for you to be able to go through entire peer-reviewed studies to be able to find out all the different ifs and buts and maybes about welfare policy. I'm asking you to go to Google or go to your LLM of choice or whatever it might be, depending on how lazy that you are, and find out how the benefit you're going to spend the next hour of your life talking about works on a basic level, how the application process works, who qualifies, how much each tier is, so that when people do say dumb shit like this, you can correct them. But you've not even done this, despite being paid significantly more than me, a fucking idiot on YouTube spouting nonsense in a bedroom who's significantly more educated on this because I have access to Google. We live in a world where we have the entire wealth of human knowledge from for thousands and thousands of years, all cumulatively combined up until today, in a rectangle in your fucking pocket, right? You have it in your rectangle in your pocket, the wealth of human knowledge, the wealth of human endeavor. It is not difficult to find out basic facts about simple parts of welfare policy. If you go to your phone and type in, how does this thing work, into Google, do it. End of rant.
One thing I do have to pull you up on, you are a better journalist than this person. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass there. I'm not being silly because you're my friend. I'm saying that absolutely as my firm conviction that you are a better journalist than this person. Now, that's not saying much because I've passed turds that I would consider a better journalist than this person. But you are an actual journalist who does actual journalism. This person isn't.
I mean, that's basically, exactly, 100%. Just... Yeah. And this happened, again, this isn't unique to Osama Mir, this isn't unique to LBC, this isn't unique to any specific journalist. This is a problem with British journalism across the board. Like, there's a reason why we've had Andy Burnham go on loads of different interviews, people from FCDO, loads of interviews, West Streeting, whoever it is, and no one's been asked, you said this thing was a genocide. Do you still hold that opinion now that you're a government minister rather than a backbench? No questioning about any of this. You know? No question about Aria Fakratiri, nothing, because they're not there to do any of their own jobs. They're there to be able to have media or establishment lines and parrot them to the public like they're fucking Radio Rwanda.
Literally. Yes. Now, I presume you're going to carry on, but I am tired. And I've been streaming since before you started. So
you were indeed.
What I'm going to do is jump off but I'll raid my people into you, and then you can carry on watching Helena, who again is a better journalist.
I'm not a better historian though.
That is true. That is true. Also, I'll be honest, better at football. Just saying.
I mean, we still need to find out who's better at snooker though.
Well, me. Again, I'm claiming that title right now.
I mean, you almost certainly are. Like, my highest break is like 41 or some shit.
Well, I've made a couple of half centuries, but that's it.
Oh, maybe it'll be a good match then.
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Out of practice, I've not played in like 10 years. But I mean, if I'm ever in Birmingham, I should hit you up.
Good stuff. Everyone go and follow No Justice MTG. Otherwise, I will bring hellfire down upon you.
I mean, it's going to be very easy to do so. You follow the raid and you hit the button that says subscribe. It's really big.
It is.
Right down there.
No, indeed. Anyway, yeah.
Free Palestine. And everyone go follow Kevin, of course, on my stream, right? Obviously, I can't raid you in because that would defeat the point of me continuing streaming. But you should do that at Floppy111 over on YouTube.
Thank you. Yeah.
See you later.
Bye. There we go, chat. It's over. Oh, snooker friend. Oh, there's a snooker. Oh. Aren't you jealous? I've got a journalist who wants to play snooker with me. That's a weird sentence. What am I talking about? Sleep tight, don't let the rats bite. That's not really a choice anymore. That's just reality. The fuck am I talking about? I'm not a podcaster. I haven't been on a podcast in years. I'm going to send everyone over to Tina2 on the YouTubes. Who's on Twitch, I should say. Who is going on YouTube? Let's go and check that out. I'll be back tomorrow with God knows what. What day is it? Thursday? I don't think Question Time's back yet, so I'll have to pluck something out. I'm going over to No Justice, aren't I, on YouTube? That's easy enough. Boom. Okie doke, everyone. Go and say hello to No Justice and /or Tina2 respectively, and big break friends. True. Okie doke, everyone. I'll love you and leave you. Free Palestine. No pass around.
Small moment of course, Red Sally and my weekend in